Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I am on a special cruise. For me, I'm on the Oceania Insignia for a 7-night. My first, hopefully, of many Oceania cruises. But I wanted to come on here and say, hey, what have I kind of learned? Some pro tips that I've put together of 7 nights at sea with Oceania. And so when you come on board, you'll already know these things because we've figured out a thing or two since we've been here. The first is when you're actually booking this cruise, you're going to get the Your World Included benefits. And so you get to choose between two different things. You get to choose between $200 per person shore excursion credit, or you can choose wine and beer during the lunch and dinner hours. And so you've got to run some quick math in your head on these things, but the things you really need to consider here is that $200 shore excursion credit for 2 people in a room is $400 total dollars. Can be used towards ShoreX. I think that's where they want you to spend the money. But with the Your World Included, should you not use it for your shore excursions or a tour, it will convert to simply onboard credit. And so you can use it for whatever you want to on board. And I think that that is one of the nicest perks about it. You know, me and Mom did book a few tours, but we didn't go through the full 400, and we've been able to utilize the remainder on other activities. The wine and beer one also is a little unique, and I think there's some changes that go on with this, but that can be used at any bar on the ship during lunch and dinner hours. And so they're going to tell you what those hours are going to be. It could be different for the sailings, but you don't actually have to be properly seated at a table in a buffet or a food venue in order to get those drinks. You can order it wherever you want to. So it's more, think of it like a happy hour, if you will, during those specified times. So it is for wine, beer, and I believe champagne is also included in that. But if you're somebody who likes their cocktails and you want a more premium package, if you select this one, it is upgradable. And so if you want to go to their prestige package, that is going to be where you can order a lot more things on the menu, including the cocktails or liquors. That's going to be about $30 per person per day is what you're going to find should you want to upgrade from that package. You can always choose to get the onboard credit, the shore excursion, $200 per person, and then just buy the prestige package on its own. But if you're going to do that, I think the more logical thing would be to get the wine and beer package that comes with it, and then just simply upgrade that. Now let's talk about some things that I've learned around food on board. And there's not many places to eat here, so the list is not extensive, but did want to share a few things with you. The first, and this is probably the biggest of them, is your specialty restaurants are included on board on Oceania. And so they're going to give you, depending on the length of your cruise, mine is a 7-night, so we got 2 specialty restaurants that we could book in advance. So make sure you are doing that. Window's going to open based on the category of room that you booked. And so if you booked a higher end room, it's going to open up earlier. If you booked a lower tier, it's going to open closer to your actual sail date. But you want to make sure that you go in and at least reserve a time. If you don't get what you want, you can always come on board and talk to the maitre d'. They are fantastic here. They run a great ship, and so you can just ask them to see if they can accommodate something earlier, but do that as soon as you board. Should you want to do additional specialty dining, there is nothing wrong with walking by and just being like, hey, could you squeeze 2 more people in tonight, and to see if you can get an additional one. It is included. There would not be an upcharge for that. But I imagine, especially on this shorter sailing, they're going to be pretty full. Longer sailings is where I think this may see a little bit more fluctuation, where you'll be able to get in easier for more times. Now my food recommendations, specifically for Polo Grill. So I've been there once so far, and the lamb chops were absolutely amazing. So that would be my prime recommendation for you there. It also comes with a mint apple jelly, which I think is just wonderful. So if you are a fan of lamb, it is wonderful. I have not gone to the Toscana Grill just yet, but I will be going there tonight. And apparently their Dover sole fish, the presentation of it is absolutely wonderful. They fillet it for you tableside and then serve it. So it's a bit of a show, an experience, and it is supposed to be wonderful to eat. But more importantly, the tiramisu here, everybody is raving about it on the ship. And so I'm really excited to be able to try my first scoop of their tiramisu tonight, which is supposed to be the best people have ever had. If you are a breakfast person, the thing that you're not going to want to miss is going to be these sticky buns. I think the best place to get these is in the grand dining room for breakfast because they'll bring it out on an individual plate. It is warm, and it's like the Jay just brought it out of the oven. However, if you do go up to the buffet, they're going to have it there as well. So you're more than welcome to try it there. I just think that they're slightly better. Maybe it's the presentation thing. down in the grand dining room, but that's my breakfast selection. Now, if you are a big coffee drinker like myself, you are in luck because here on Oceania, it is going to be included. That much I knew. I knew coffee was included. But what I wanted to share with you is, it also includes chai, matcha, all the things that are at a coffee shop, you're going to be able to get complimentary on board Oceania. Now, the Baristas is going to be your primary coffee shop here on the Insignia. That is right outside the main dining room, the grand dining room on deck 5. Though the schedule on the cruise compass, if you will, for Oceania says it's only open until 6 or 6:30. I'm not a late night coffee person, so I've not tried to push that, but do know that that limitation may be in place. If you're in one of the dining rooms, they always have the ability to bring you a coffee as well. You're also going to find another espresso bar in the Terrace Cafe. This is the buffet. You can go there and order whatever espresso drink you may want as well. My personal favorite place to drink this is in the coffee bar area on deck 10 in the Horizons. So they're going to have one of the coffee machines that makes espresso. They're going to have teas for you there and a few different pastries that you can eat first thing in the morning. The reason I love this is it is all the way forward on deck 10 and it gives you beautiful views, especially if you're having coffee while you're coming into a port first thing in the morning. It'll be a prime location to see, yourself coming into port. Another thing that they do here on Oceania that I didn't realize that they did is they do a proper tea service in the afternoons. So my pro tips here, because I've done this once so far and I learned a few things while I was there, is number one, do a light lunch. If you know you want to go to tea, don't eat too much at lunch. And then do an earlier afternoon tea. And that's still going to be probably about 3:30 is when they've been opening it here. Because then if you want to go to dinner at 6:30, 7:30, you want to make sure you still have room for all the amazing food in the restaurants around the ship. And so that is my recommendation is eat an early lunch, go to afternoon tea, and then eat a late dinner, and you should be able to hopefully fit it all into your stomach. And one of the key differences here to, a larger ship is, the restaurants are not open 24/7. And so there are going to be times where you just can't find food throughout the ship, mainly in between lunch, dinner, and then after the dinner times, there's nowhere to go and get food. And so Waves Grill is going to be the one that is your pool bar grill. That's going to be open most of the time. So if you're outside of those hours, that's probably the first place I check, at least in between lunch and dinner. But outside of that, room service is going to be your best friend. So we've ordered it a few times here in the room, and it's been actually really good. So check out the menu. You're probably going to be impressed with what their room service offers and what you can get. This brings me to another tip is make sure you're using the interactive menu on your TV. So the TV in this room, they don't have an app. So if I was to pull out my phone, they don't have an app that I can go to explore and to get information. You're going to find most of it on your interactive TV. So you can find billing statements, you can see the menu for the restaurants, you can see the hours, any promotions they have going on. It is a great resource. So please make sure you're using the interactive TV. To stay up to speed on everything that is happening here on the Oceania Insignia, we've been receiving a daily current. This is their cruise compass or their activities for the day on board the ship. And so it is a paper version because they do not have an app. So best practices here, I had to go back into the memory, and if you've been cruising for a while, you know this. Make sure you're pulling out your digital camera, taking a picture of the schedule. That way you don't have to take the current with you everywhere that you're going. And if you don't have a camera or don't feel like taking a picture of it, rip out the specific page that does have the activities on it, and you can fold that up and put it in your pocket. Take it around with you. You don't need the entire thing. It's really only that back page that is going to be the most beneficial and useful to you. The schedule I found on Oceania to be pretty fixed, which is a good thing. So by the end of your cruise, you should be able to figure out, okay, tea's normally at this time, dinner's normally at this time. They've got a flow that they normally follow, with showtimes being, on this ship at least, at 9:15 in the evening. Now, if you were doing that, I would say that you need to be in the grand dining room by 7:45 p.m. seated in order to make the 9:15 show. We've been showing up around 8, a little after 8, and we're coming in, 5-10 minutes late. There is a big rush on the dining room here, first thing. So 6:30 is when it's been opening. People start lining up for the dining room. So if you want to ensure that you get one of those early spots, you need to be in line probably about 6:15 to make that happen. Though once they open the doors, they of course can accommodate many people. But to make the show, make sure you're going about an hour and a half early. to dinner in order to get there on time, and it does fill up. So if you want a good seat, you might want to go even earlier into the dining room. Now, talking about the lounge or the shows here, they're in the Insignia lounge on board this sailing. Now, what I would tell you is there's not a bad seat in the house, but do try to sit in the middle. The show is geared to face the middle. You can still see it if you're on the sides, but you can get the best view, the best acoustics sitting in the middle. Those do fill up very quick. I've actually never gotten there in time to see there to be a seat. My personal favorite has actually been on the outside. They've got some high top chairs that you can sit in that elevates you a little bit, especially if I'm trying to film what's going on. It gives me a better angle to be able to watch. What I'll also tell you here is I went to go see one of the guest lecturers. I went to see the Future Cruise presentation. Bring your glasses. So I am nearsighted. I can't see far away, and I didn't bring my glasses. And they are using projectors, and there's words and things on there that I just could not make out. So bring your glasses if that's something that is a concern for you or something that you struggle with like I do. Now let's talk dress code on board Oceania. Now, when you're researching it, it's going to say that it is country club casual. And I think that what they don't tell you is this depends on the country club that you go to. All country clubs are not created equal. But I think that there's a certain lens, of sophistication that they're really wanting you to bring to the table. And so what I have been wearing is shirts like this, or maybe it's a Cuban style collar, that are more dressy, but still on the casual front. I have been doing a darker pair of jeans, which honestly, I would say is probably on the lower tier of what you can get away with here. Most gentlemen are in slacks. But as we talked about, it is an older, more senior demographic, and that's what they're going to be just more comfortable in. And so there's been a few people with jeans, but I am certainly in the minority on wearing jeans. From there, during the day, you will find that it is very casual. During the day, you can wear whatever you want to. I have worn a few sleeveless shirts, still nice shirts, but they don't have a sleeve on them. I'm in flip-flops and tennis shoes walking around the ship, and that is not an issue whatsoever. I personally probably would not go to the grand dining room in that outfit. I would dress a little bit nicer for that experience, especially for lunch. And then they do enforce the dress code for dinner. If you want to wear something a little bit more casual, probably the Terrace Cafe is going to be a good spot for you. But even there, you're going to find people are a little bit more dressy. The most dressy night here is going to be on the Captain's Night. So they don't have theme nights on Oceania. So if you're looking for a white night, that doesn't happen here. But they don't have formal nights either because it's all, country club casual. But I will say that the night that there was the captain's reception, you could see people put a little bit more effort into it, and they did dress up a little bit more. If you are doing this on another ship that may be a longer sailing, do make sure you bring something blue. I've heard rumors that they do have a blue night that has been recently introduced. We've not had that on our 7 night here, so I wore my blue outfit last night because I checked and they're just not doing it. So that is something that I learned, is that is not every single cruise, and so we've not had a theme night on here, which I am honestly quite fine with. The last pro tip that I'll leave you with is slow down when you come on Oceania. It is a slower pace. Take a breath, put yourself into a relaxing mode. Nobody here is going to be in a hurry. So make sure you're just enjoying your cruise. You are relaxing and you're going to have a wonderful time. But leave all the busybody energy like I tend to carry. You see me on here. Leave that busybody energy on land. Come on here, take a deep breath, enjoy the ocean vibes, the relaxing atmosphere, and you're going to have a wonderful time. But the biggest pro tip that I have is if you are coming on the Oceania Insignia, even though she is a small ship, make sure you know the floor plan, make sure you know how to get around. Especially if you have mobility issues, this will be a great video for you just to really make yourself familiar with where everything is, and so you don't get too terribly turned around when you get here. Though if you do, it's easy to solve. She is a small girl. So check out the full ship tour video here. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a weekend cruise soon.